Hello, I am Paul Brooks, and I thank you for joining me to discuss the daily Bible readings accompanying this spring lesson number 7, the final lesson in our current unit of study, The Scriptures Difficult to Understand. Our lesson is titled The Mysteries in the Revelation, with the central truth that John's revelation of Christ was given to reveal, not conceal, truth. But we must acknowledge that there are mysteries in the Revelation, and this book does contain passages that are difficult to understand. Our daily Bible readings help us prepare for our weekly lesson and also serve as daily devotionals. According to our Evangelical Sunday School lesson commentary, the book of Revelation belongs to a special category of prophecy called apocalyptic literature. The Greek word for apocalypse, the language in which the book was originally written, means revelation, unveiling, or revealing. Apocalyptic literature has a heavy interest in events of the last days, and it tells its story with the use of symbolism. The books of Daniel and Revelation are classified as apocalyptic literature, and sections of the Old Testament books are also apocalyptic. Apocalyptic literature is a preview of the end that shows how God will overthrow the present ruling powers and set up his eternal kingdom. Apocalyptic writing is highly theological. All 6 of our daily Bible readings this week are apocalyptic in nature. The first 3 from the Old Testament present full apocalyptic visions of 3 different Old Testament prophets. Then we see 3 passages from 3 New Testament books that are also apocalyptic in nature and are called Little Apocalypse. On Monday, we began our reading in Ezekiel chapter 39, verses 1 to 7, for Ezekiel's apocalyptic vision. We do not know who Gog is or where Magog is or was located. There is a sense that Gog refers to every enemy of God, and that Magog could be every place where defiance is raised against God. The takeaway here, the good news for every believer in Christ is Gog and Magog will be destroyed as revealed in the Revelation in chapter 20, verses 7 to 9. Tuesday, we read in Daniel chapter 7, verses 1 to 11, about Daniel's apocalyptic vision. The 4 beasts in this passage are believed by biblical scholars to be the same 4 ancient empires from Nebuchadnezzar's dream, the Babylonian, Persian, Greek, and Roman empires. The takeaway is that these 4 empires, however great they may have been, all passed away, but God's kingdom endures forever. Wednesday, we read from Zechariah chapter 14, verses 1 to 9, about Zechariah's apocalyptic vision. This passage is believed to be prophetic of the second coming of Christ. Many things are described that will occur, but the most important is found in verse 9. The Lord shall be king over all the earth. Thursday, we read a New Testament passage from Matthew chapter 24, verses 4 to 14, called Matthew's Little Apocalypse. This prophetic apocalyptic passage records Jesus' words from the Olivet Discourse and his warnings concerning signs of the end of times. Read verse 4, and do not be deceived. Verse 6 tells us that we will hear of wars and rumors of wars, but not to be troubled, for the end is not yet. Then in verse 9 to 12, Jesus tells of persecution for believers, more false prophets, and a cold-hearted world. But in verse 13 to 14, he tells us that he that shall endure until the end, the same shall be saved, and that the end will not come until the gospel of the kingdom is preached to all the world. Then shall the end come. Many believe that we are now in the period described in verse 8 as the beginning of sorrows. This passage is considered to be a prophetic view of our world until Jesus Christ returns. Today, on Friday, we read from Mark chapter 13, verses 24 to 31, about Mark's little apocalypse. Mark recorded the same prophetic words of Jesus here as did Matthew in the previous passage. Although we're looking at just a few verses here, it would be worthwhile to go back and read the entire chapter 13. In this Mark's version, Jesus tells us in verse 31 that the things of which he speaks will surely happen. Then tomorrow on Saturday, we finish with a similar passage from Luke chapter 21, verses 8 to 19, about Luke's little apocalypse. This passage is from Luke's recording of Jesus' Olivet Discourse and is focused on having believers in Christ guard against deceivers and to remain faithful. So I pray that this video, these daily Bible readings and devotions, help you to understand the message better for this week. John's revelation of Christ was given to reveal, not conceal, the truth. So be watching our church Facebook page. I'll be posting one or more videos later this week to provide additional commentary and instruction for your study of this week's lesson. And as always, I pray for you and your family's safety and for God's blessings upon you.